What we did not anticipate is that this was a trigger point for very many women. It is quite shocking, and this is the change we're looking for, that how do you professionalize this? Listening to these voices and saying there is something there, something has to change is the most important.
Hello, everybody. As you know, the month of August has brought us face to face with that unassailable truth, and that is that women of all ages, children even, from all walks of life across this country are perhaps just one step away from being taken down with unspeakable, brutal violence. Now, last week, the Hema Committee Report was finally released in Kerala. It was finally published, even though it was ready in 2019. And that report has ended up confirming what a lot of people know and have talked about, but haven't documented or have on the record, and that is the illegal and perhaps even criminal behavior that's normalized, especially when dealing with women in the film industry and specifically the Malayalam film industry. Now, it has had a big impact. We've had AMMA, which is the Association for Malayalam movie artists, resign. That is, all the office bearers, including the President Mohanlal, resign, taking moral responsibility. And this is now, we are positioned at a pivotal moment in time. There are a lot of possibilities going forward to make sense of what is going on, what is in this report, what is a new vision for this film industry. I'm delighted to be talking to Bina Paul. She's a renowned film editor associated with the movie industry and the Malayalam film industry for a very long time, and a founder member of the Women in Cinema Collective that has spearheaded everything that's going on. In fact, I want to acknowledge, as we do this conversation, the physical, mental, and emotional effort that's gone into getting to this point. Bina, thank you for making time.
Thank you.
Last week, when this report came out, I think the question and the overwhelming feeling seemed to be relief. This is now on record. And this week, it's not just relief. It seems to be that you are seeing results as that are a direct outcome of this report becoming public.
We were very relieved because we thought here is something that now sort of vindicates everything we have said, and we believe that the government will act, etc. But what we did not anticipate is that this was a trigger point for very many women who have gone through
forward
to come forward, publicly speak. Yeah, I think WCC knew that this report would create some waves in the industry because it was a government-initiated report. It was very pointed, we had heard. We had heard some of the recommendations, but didn't know what the report had. But this outpouring, I think, comes from years of frustration, comes from years of just being treated as pieces of flesh and on a set, not feeling valued as professionals. Whether you're a junior artist, whether you're a dancer, whether you're an actor, whether you're an assistant
whether you're
director,
a hairstylist or a makeup
artist, anybody, or anything, you never are given that value of a dignified workplace.
We heard that Mohanlal, who's the president of AMMA or AMMA, and the other office bearers have resigned, claiming moral responsibility. I mean, that's a fig leaf, isn't it? And it's blown off because it's not moral responsibility. There are people in those office bearers who have allegations against them, who women have come up with. And I was reading, the report, and when you go through that report, it is so clear what has been going on under the watch of this association, isn't it? So this resignation, it should have happened. It's too late. There is nothing here that is worthy.
Well, I would not say that, Anuradha. I would say nothing is too late, frankly. Every step is in the right direction. AMMA, if it has felt, you see, it's not for us to judge. It is certainly not for WCC to judge how another association runs, how it puts its house in order. They can't tell us, we can't tell them. But if it is a genuine concern that things have not been right, we welcome this. We welcome the fact that there is rethinking, that there is need to shake up the system. But I never say too late, because this is the only hope we have, that everybody is slowly going to make these changes, and we believe that AMMA will move in the right direction. Of course, we've been screaming forever that this is all wrong. We've had fights with them. From the time the actress was abducted, we have known attitudes exist. But the fact that the women themselves, this has nothing to do with WCC. The report is what WCC worked on, but the outpouring has come from either their members or other people, and therefore it is for them to act, and they have chosen to act like this, and we hope this is a step in the right direction.
There was a long battle to get this report to go public. You had to go the RTI route. There were legal obstacles that were put in the way of this report becoming public. And this is a government which is, we all know how the left front government has bucked the trend in Kerala and is in term to, one after the other in consecutive terms. So it is the government that commissioned this report, and it did not do everything it could to bring it out. I mean, this impact that you're seeing now, and I'm not trying to stoke passions here, but I totally respect the measured tone that you would want to take in response. But Bina, this is 5 years too late. This could have been done 5 years.
Anuradha, again, I say it's not too late. Of course, the government sat on it. We cannot but criticize the government for having sat on it. We believe that this could have happened earlier. There were, of course, a lot of flags put by Justice Hema herself. We believe, we don't know, that it is a sensitive report. And like all state systems, or like all patriarchal systems, they don't know how to deal with it. They think suppressing it and hiding it is one way, which we were not going to allow to happen. So we have sort of kept up the pressure. The press has been, the people of Kerala have been. So I would really say not too late, never too late. Again, I would say this change was inevitable. After the formation of WCC, gender has reached a kind of critical point in thinking about the industry, thinking about labor laws, thinking about a lot of things. Representation, stories. So while the industry is ostensibly coming out with the best films, etc., undoubtedly, where is the change happening for the women who work in this industry? Are more women coming into the industry? These were questions that were the ones that we were trying to answer.
Sure. I'm such a fan of Malayalam cinema, like many people.
A lot of people are.
And many people have discovered it. Malayalam cinema has a long tradition, and you've had fans for a very long time. But thanks to streaming and easy releases in the country,
and
people subtitling, your connection or your access to Malayalam cinema, contemporary Malayalam cinema, is very, very easy and instantaneous. I was reading this report, Bina, and it was hair-raising. It was excruciating. It was hair-raising, because I'm thinking of all those movies I've admired and all the realism that those films have shown. And very often in many films, I have also seen misogyny and patriarchy being pointed out, sometimes by male directors. And I'm thinking, oh my God, and the back end, did X film have this kind of a thing going on? Did Y film have that kind of a thing going on? It was very shattering to read this. Justice Hema has written very specifically. She says, from the evidence placed before the committee, which includes statements of both men and women in cinema, various documents produced and procured, we unhesitatingly conclude that sexual harassment, etc., are shockingly rampant in film industry, and I'm quoting it exactly, and it remains unchecked and uncontrolled. What did you feel when you read these statements?
Anuradha, we have over the last 5 years encountered in various ways a lot of this violence and a lot of this harassment firsthand. So I think for us, frankly, it was not so surprising. We did know. I mean, ever since I became a WCC member, I have uh, sort of seen up close the kind of things women have gone through. And I must say that I was very relieved that, yes, somebody is talking about it and somebody is confronting it. Somebody is telling it as it is. So that was my sense. I mean, now about the films, it's really interesting that we are constantly having to battle this almost schizophrenic nature of the Malayalam film industry, which is very progressive or somewhat progressive in some ways and very patriarchal in process. Younger film directors have tried. I must say, over the last 5 years, the film industry, the coming of WCC, the COVID, I would say basically the coming of WCC, it is very important. Gender has become an issue. And therefore, there is an attempt to make gender sensitive films, to show characters more strongly, etc. But process, that is what we're talking about. How are these films made? Are there enough women? Are they respected on the set? Are they, do they feel empowered enough to open up their voices? Even to tell a director, I perhaps disagree with this shot. These are things that we are concerned with. The films are good, undoubtedly strong films. And I would not like to sort of brushstroke it as a kind of black industry. I would say that it's a kind of feudal industry that needs to become contemporary. And this is our attempt to give it a push in that direction. So you make good films, but you make them, you ensure that the processes that go to make them are also good.
This is now on the record. People have deposed before this committee, and it is also very interesting to see the kind of effort that was made to get people, to reach people, to access people, because the committee seemed to be very clear they wanted direct evidence.
Correct.
They did not
this is very, very interesting. Yes.
Hearsay. How difficult was it to get people to participate, to offer their experiences? Because the WCC has done a lot of work in helping that as well, isn't it? And this must not have been easy, because you all would have been branded as troublemakers, difficult people, trying to sully the prestige of an industry, isn't it? I'm sure all of that has happened. I do want to talk about how you all got people to feel comfortable and confident enough to present before this committee.
You see, WCC itself as a group was always convinced that this is necessary. So our members did. But I must say it wasn't us who did it. I give a lot of credit to Hema. She published an advertisement in the paper. So all that processes were followed, and she went out, she met men, she met powerful men. So I must say that the credit on that front goes to her as well. There is criticism that a lot of people were not reached out to, but everybody did know it was your choice to come. So, I mean, but I know that WCC was convinced it did not need so much pushing for our members to go and talk, because this was one of our main demands.
Bina, please tell us what the last 5 years have been for members of the WCC. Actually, why 5 years? Ever since 2017, when your collective was formed.
See, it has been a tough ride, I must say. First of all, there's complete disbelief in what we are trying to say. There is complete incomprehension that there is a problem or there was a problem. So because of that, we were always considered troublemakers, whether it is makeup artists, hairstylists, actors, editors, all that. Now, the important thing to know is that, you know, every woman's movement across the world meets this kind of um, uh, pushback. But we did not let go. I give it to the entire collective that we all believe very strongly in what we were saying. We knew, that this is not ideal. This is a great industry, but our condition is not ideal. There are many marginalized. There is a lot of human right violation which has to be addressed. So that was, what kept us going, but it was not easy. It's been vicious. It's been demeaning. It's been frightening sometimes. So it has been, and I must say, like today, where a lot of other women are coming out, um, it just requires courage.
But it had a direct material impact on your work, isn't it? And work prospects.
Yes, for a lot of people it did.
Uh,
Lots and lots of people.
in fact, that is one of the key findings of this committee, isn't it? That, across
You see,
board,
yeah, I
if
would
they
just like
don't,
to say this is what we are addressing, power structures. Power
yeah.
structures that decide you can be here, you needn't be here, you're good enough, you're not good enough. What are your professional standards? You see, this is when we say power structures, this is what we mean, that there are um, extraneous things happening rather than just your professional talent and work capacity, etc., that come into play. And many, many women suffered because of this. Many, many. Just that you're a member of WCC, you won't get work. If you said something about WCC, you won't get work. If you've commented on something, you're considered a troublemaker. I mean, it's gone to very, very, uh, unfortunately, very strong, sort of heights that are not very imaginable. And I think she saw that because it was not only one or two of us who were saying it, or that some people on the top who were saying it. It was when she spoke to many people. They all said that there is this power structure that tends to, uh, you know, um, come into play the moment they want or not want.
I've been telling everybody that they should read it. It is excruciating, it is hair raising to see the kind of, what is that word? Adjustment that all women are expected to make just to have an entry into this business, and then to go on, and how casually in every work situation, on location shoots, to be expected to sleep with men who are in different positions of power down that up and down the value chain. It seems to be so, I'm sorry, I'm sounding so outraged, but and this is not special to the
We were
Malayalam.
as well, frankly, we were as well. We were outraged that it was so pervasive. And you see, again, we can't say it's everybody. It is a
Sure, they're
system
right.
that does not have a professional way of saying, look, you're good enough for this role, therefore you get this role, and therefore you're protected, and therefore you have rights as an actor, or you are a good makeup artist, or you can do this. So I I must say that it is quite shocking, and this is the change we're looking for. That how do you professionalize this space? How do you make sure that it is not the women? And it's always put behind this garb of the creative. Of course, we know it's a creative industry. We all know that. But does creative mean a license to exploit, or does creative mean a means to express? That's what the
Yeah, yeah. Does being creative offer you a license to exploit, and not just exploit? This committee report is very clear that there are illegalities and criminal behavior. A lot of the behavior that has been documented is actually illegal. It breaks the laws of this country, and it is criminal behavior, some of it, if these women actually go forward with their complaints, and a due process of law can take place so much later. But what's the
Anuradha, this is also uh, interesting because to put the onus on the women all the time, prove it, prove it, prove it, is also problematic. I really feel that the law or the powers that be um, have to take cognizance, of what is happening. Many of these cases we cannot, you know how the justice system works. It is long, it is hard, it is excruciating. Many of these may not stand the kind of test of a case, but are they genuine? Are they pointing to something else? Some of it may be, exaggerated. Some of it may be even fabricated. We don't know. I don't think so at all. But the point is, this is a pointer. There is something that dal mein to kuch kala hai. Otherwise, this would not have happened. Who has pushed these women to speak? But their own trauma, etc. And then to relive it, you see, nobody understands that to come out in front of television and say something is huge. You or
absolutely
me cannot,
admission of you being unempowered, whoever wants to put yourself up like that, isn't it? Besides everything else that society offer will put on to
Put
you
you
the
through.
moment. Yes, the
Exactly.
moment you admit all this. But the first admission to say that you were unempowered is not a comfortable one by any standard.
Absolutely. And then to know that it's a long journey, you're going to hit
Yeah.
against walls, you're going to hit against power structures, is not easy. So I would say that, the law is one thing, very important, but listening to these voices and saying there is something there, something has to change is the most important.
What is the way forward? What do you see? Because we know the recommendations that have been made by the committee. We know that the Kerala government wants to do a conclave, a new film policy. A lot of big macro changes are possible. But at the WCC level, given that you all have spearheaded this, brought us up to this point, made everybody confront a reality which they were just brushing under the carpet. What are a few steps that you would like to see next as a collective?
We would like to certainly see a proper IC system put in place.
Yeah.
To dismiss the IC is not on.
You have to find a way to adapt it, I guess.
Adapt the IC. Yeah, the law of the land says you have an IC. How do you ensure that there are ICs, functioning proper ICs that women feel confident enough to talk? This is a very, very important thing, and this involves not only WCC, it involves producers, it involves everybody, it involves the government, it involves LC, etc. I think the Labour Department has to look at how things can be streamlined. I'm not saying regulated. I am saying streamlined. How do you make sure that auditions? How do you make sure there are contracts? How do you gender contracts? How do you make sure that there are facilities? Do you say that when you have 2 women, you have 2 toilets? When you have 5 women, you have 7 toilets? Whatever. I'm just talking about numbers, but I'm just saying that where is the guideline for this industry to be within the ambit of law? You see how, when there isn't a guideline, you can do what you want, right? There is nobody to ask you, there is nobody you're answerable to. But if there are guidelines, you are answerable, they have to be followed. Of course, there is give and take. So we are very much saying that, look, guidelines, labor guidelines have to be put in place, which take into consideration the nature of this industry, the nature of the work, again, this whole business of um, moral policing, I mean, it's all not what we are saying. We are not saying that, uh, that people don't have relationships, people cannot have relationships, but that slippery slope of consent, that issue of power, these are things that everybody needs to be aware of. The understanding of what constitutes sexual harassment. A lot of people do not know that if you send a message to a woman saying, hey, wear this tomorrow, actually constitutes sexual harassment if you are not in a relationship that can afford that. You may be very good friends and you can complement each other. So this kind of
Also, what
understanding.
is the power structure in that situation, right?
Exactly.
That's
Absolutely.
sending that
Absolutely.
message. Is he in a position of power? So
Power.
I think,
Exactly. So I think these are the definitions we are looking at. We are looking certainly at gender sensitization, and it's working together. I have to say again and again, WCC cannot do this alone. And I am hoping civil society will take this up. This is a larger issue of gender relations in our society and how, how patriarchy is very deeply embedded and needs to be questioned.
is it very clear at this point that there is no going back? It cannot be business as usual. Post this Hema Committee report, we are going to see new standards in the Malayalam film industry.
I think in Malayalam society, frankly, I really think everybody's taking note of this and it's important. And I really, again and again, I say this, it is because we are in Kerala, it is because we have a population that is very literate, very critical, that this is possible. And I'm really proud of that, frankly. I will not ever degrade or denigrate this industry because I believe it's only here and we will show the way.
Yeah, I think that's an important point you make because the fact is that this is the state of the Malayalam film industry is particularly shocking because no matter which part of the country you belong to, you always expect Kerala to sort of set higher standards, isn't it? So
That's right. So
yeah,
we are setting a good standard. I hope
well,
everybody follows.
you've definitely initiated a huge cleanup. It's taken time, but here you are. I wish you a lot of luck to you and to all your colleagues on the WCC.
Thank you
Bina,
so much, Anuradha. It's all of us together. I think the media, the people, everybody, it's a fight. It's all together. We can only make the change together.
you
So
made
thank you
that
so
point.
much.
It's not the film industry, it's society that has to change and take cues from what's happening. This is a microcosm of society. So, Bina,
That's
thank you. I wish you a lot of good luck. I'll be talking to a lot of different members of the WCC, different
good.
women's voices.
Lovely.
And yeah, we'll
Talk to
keep
some
talking.
men as well.
I will. I do plan to do
The
that
change
because
has to.
yes,
Thank you.
yes, we'll keep talking. Thank you, Bina. Good
Thank you
luck.
so much. Bye. Thanks, Anuradha.